Here's what's on the agenda for today. Number one, what does your liver do for you? What does your liver do? I get so amazed every time I look at the liver and like, it does that, it does that. Oh my God, it does
Mhm.
so many things. It's so important. Number two, we're going to discuss 5 surprising dietary culprits that can do irreversible damage to your liver. Things that we should be avoiding. Very important that we learn about these things. Number three, we're going to discuss science-backed liver health foods that seniors should eat daily. So really good things to promote the health of the liver. And as I mentioned, we'll have some Q&A time at the end. So what does your liver do for you? So along with the heart, with the brain, the kidneys, and I would say your lungs, your liver is one of your most important organs. It's in the top 5, right? One of the most important things. So let's first take a moment to appreciate your liver and all the incredible things that it does for you. And it does this without asking anything in return. All we got to do is just take care of it. Look at this. Your liver. Let's start with the hormones. Did you know your liver plays a big part in regulating your hormones? The liver is involved in the metabolism of multiple endocrine hormones, including thyroid hormones like glucagon, like peptide 1, and steroid hormones. And when people think hormones, a lot of people think a lot of different things, but hormones are like little tiny messengers that travel all over your body and tell it what to do. So this is a super important little place where messengers go in and out. It also helps get rid of body waste, gets rid of toxins. And this is one of the most important functions of the liver. It cleans and removes harmful substances from the blood. And almost everything we eat, breathe in, or put in our body has to be removed or cleaned by the liver. This includes toxins such as air pollution, cigarette smoke, alcohol, and other drugs. The liver is what does this. It cleans things. And it also builds proteins and makes bile, which helps you absorb fats. The liver plays a crucial role in the production of nearly all plasma proteins. And bile is the greenish yellow fluid consisting of waste products, cholesterol, and bile salts that is secreted by the liver cells to perform 2 primary functions. It carries waste away and it breaks down fats during digestion. So really important stuff there. And it also adjusts your cholesterol levels. Most people don't know that. Your liver adjusts your cholesterol levels. It does this by making cholesterol and delivers it to cells that need it around the body. And secondly, it can remove cholesterol by converting it to bile salts so that the body can get rid of it in the bile and bowel movements. And it's important to know that if the liver is not working properly, it can cause cholesterol to build up in your body. Also know that cholesterol itself is not wrong. Cholesterol is a hormone that's also beneficial to you. It's when things get out of balance and it becomes a problem. Other thing the liver does that most people may not know about, it stores sugar for when you really need it. So the liver both stores and manufactures glucose, that's sugar, depending upon the body's needs. The need to store or release glucose is primarily signaled by the hormones insulin and glucagon. And during the meal, your liver will store sugar or glucose as glycogen for a later time when your body needs it. Most people don't even know that. Now, the last thing it does here is it filters and removes bacteria from your blood. So it cleans your blood. The liver cells convert ammonia to a less toxic substance called urea, which is released into the blood. And urea is then transported to the kidneys and passes out of the body into the urine. Isn't that amazing? All the wonderful things that the liver does for you. Most people just think it's kind of a filter, but I wanted to put this up there just so we have some appreciation for the liver and recognize all the amazing things it does and all this global impact it has on your health.
Absolutely.
So unfortunately, the Liver American Foundation in America have some scary stats that we want to share here. So you see here first, over 100 million Americans have a fatty liver, right? And most of this is non-alcohol related fatty liver disease. This condition affects 1 in 3 adults and 1 in 10 children in the United States. This is tied to an increase in metabolic diseases like obesity, hypertension, high triglycerides. It's important to know these have all been getting worse over the past 100 years. It's not like our ancestors had this and they were going around with liver issues, right? These things have been getting worse and worse because of our environment, the way we've been eating, the way we've been moving, the way we've been living, right? Also know that over 20 million Americans will develop liver fibrosis disease as a result of having that fatty liver. Liver fibrosis is the excessive accumulation of extracellular matrix proteins. And advanced liver fibrosis, results in cirrhosis. That's liver failure and portal hypertension, and often requires liver transplantation. And this is where we have over 5 million will progress to cirrhosis and possible end of stage liver failure. Some will be lucky enough to be listed for a transplant, which is up to this point the only way to deal with it. But 30% of those will actually die waiting on a liver transplant, right? And it's really hard to reverse this stuff. You can just like, it gets to that point, it is what it is, right? So let's take a look at the stages of liver diseases with these pictures, because I think it kind of shows you a lot of what's going on inside. So when a liver is healthy and looks good, as you see in the upper left, right? What is it doing there? A healthy liver, as we mentioned, it's regulating hormones, it's getting rid of body toxins, it's building proteins, it's making bile, it's adjusting cholesterol levels, it's storing sugar for when you really need it, it's filtering and removing bacteria from your blood, right? That's a healthy liver. And in the upper right, you see the first progression, right? You see a fatty liver. And this is where we get an increase in the buildup of fat in the liver, and major risk factors begin to pop up, including obesity, type 2 diabetes, though it's also associated with excessive alcohol consumption. And it usually causes no symptoms. Most people don't feel any symptoms at that point. This is what a lot of people are walking around with. They don't know that what's coming next is a big problem, right? When symptoms occur, they typically occur with things like fatigue, weight issues, and abdominal pain. That's really the only things you get, right? But if left unchecked, it goes to the next stage, which is fibrosis of the liver. And that's what you see in the bottom left. Fibrosis, what that is, it's the formation of an abnormal amount of scar tissue in the liver, right? And it occurs when the liver attempts to repair and replace the damaged cells, but that's what you get with the fibrosis. And in the bottom right, you see the last stage, the one you never want to end up at. That's where we have cirrhosis of the liver. And this is where the liver has permanent scarring that damages your liver and interferes with its functioning. And it can lead to liver failure, hepatitis, that's inflammation of the liver, and chronic alcohol abuse is a frequent cause of this, but it also can be done by the way we eat, by the way we live in our society, and too many medications and things like that. So liver damage caused by cirrhosis, it's important to know it can't be undone. Can't be undone, but further damage can be limited, right? So over time, inflammation and scarring of the liver, cirrhosis, can occur with much more serious symptoms. And some of the top signs your liver may be fatty or inflamed include fatigue, pain, abdominal swelling. I see that a lot with my patients, abdominal swelling, red palms, and that jaundice. That's that yellow look. You'll see it in both the eyes and the skin. That's highly problematic and a good sign that something's going on with the liver, and even weight loss at that point. So those are the signs you really want to be looking out for that are kind of warning us that something needs to be done and we need to redirect things or maybe modify some things. So now for some good news. Those are some scary statistics. We want to scare everybody. So know that what you eat and what you drink, right? We have choices, and these can have a profound impact on how effective or ineffective your liver is, which leads us to, well, let's go back to a little more bad news, right? So let's talk about 5 surprising foods that can hurt your liver, right? We need to really create awareness around the problematic foods and do our best to really limit these foods and go back to foods that are ideally more on the path, so to speak. So number 1, crackers. Crackers. So who here is eating crackers? Who here is eating crackers, right? This popular snack, it may seem innocent enough, but they're not an excellent option for liver health. And any foods with refined carbs or sugars can be problematic for the liver, according to research. And the thing is, it can be easy to just munch on crackers mindlessly, right? Just over and over, right? So keep your liver in mind next time you reach for a big sleeve of crackers. It's making your liver work overtime. It's spiking your blood sugar. Your liver's having to work really hard to be able to process that high amount of sugar. Number 2 would be salted or cured meats. Now, many of you know I'm a huge fan of animal-based protein, specifically meat, because it's so nutrient dense, right? But processed meats that are prepared in very unnatural ways, or I should say presented to us in very unnatural ways with excessive salt, can be a problem for those with liver issues. And too much fatty meat and or salt is a problem for those with liver health challenges, according to the American Liver Foundation. So cured meats, right? Like prosciutto or even cold cuts like ham, bologna, salami. Those are all foods that are best eaten very sparingly, or ideally not at all. I never eat these on really any occasion. So instead, you want to opt for high quality, leaner meats. This would be like chicken, turkey, seafood, beef. If it has a lower fat content, those are going to be more ideal for people who are wanting to protect their liver a little more and look out for their health issues around the liver and their organs. Number 3, this is a big one. This is where I think gets a lot of people in trouble. It's fruit cups or fruit drinks, right? Because people think, oh, it's fruit, must be good for me. Yay. Now this one is like comes as a surprise, but according to a 2013 study, overconsumption of fruits can actually introduce too much fructose to the body, which the liver may have issues processing and can result in fatty liver issues. So canned and packaged fruits are also often packed with artificial sweeteners and added sugars. And fruit drinks, this would be things like orange juice, apple juice, grape juice, right? We think they're good, right? We think they're really good for us, but they're super high in fructose, lots and lots of fructose sugar, right? And it gets stored in the liver as fat very, very quickly because it's in liquid form, as opposed to like eating grapes or eating an orange juice or eating an apple. Huge difference, right? We really get in a lot of trouble with the fruit drinks. So this is especially the case for those who are less active, who aren't moving around much because they tend to be a little more insulin resistant. They have a problem processing sugar with a little more. It could also be a problem with people who are dealing with any metabolic issues that I mentioned earlier. So things like obesity, hypertension, high triglycerides, those type of people really have to be careful with all these fruit drinks. Not good for us anyway. So definitely go easy on these fruits and maybe ditch all fruit drinks and juices altogether, especially the stuff that has added sugars. Like if you look, they will add sugar to the fruit. And like these fruit cups. It's like as if the fruit has plenty of sugar. But what the food industry will do, because their interest is to get you to keep coming back for more. And sugar is a very addictive substance, right? And it tastes yummy. But it doesn't, and those levels does not do any favors for your organs, your liver, your blood sugar, and all of that, right? So I like to keep my fruit intake to mostly berries, right? Blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. Those are the great things that have a very low sugar content and a higher content when it comes to vitamins and minerals, right? We want to think about not just calories, we want to think about the quality of those calories, right? So then we have, now this is one, I know this one gets overlooked a lot. Number 4, common condiments. Now this is an important one because a lot of people don't think twice about what's in their condiments. We want to really encourage everybody to read the labels, and please remember this. It's not just the obvious sources of sugar in your diet that could be causing serious damage to your liver. Often, the more dangerous sources of fructose are those in which the sugar content is less obvious, in things like ketchup and salad dressings. Ketchup and salad dressings, you gotta look on the back of it. They put high fructose corn syrup in all of those things unless it's really made by a really good quality trusted source. So check this out. Just 1 tablespoon of Heinz ketchup contains 4 grams of sugar. And what we'll do is like fries, ketchup, burger, ketchup, just dip it again. So, and then here's another one. 1 serving of Kraft creamy French salad dressing delivers 6 grams of sugar, right? So we see this a lot too. People, I made a nice salad. It's a salad. It can't be bad for me, and you put a lot of good stuff on there, put some walnuts, put some, what are carrots, all kinds of good stuff on there, and then just completely ruin the whole show with this salad dressing that has 6 grams of sugar just per small little tablespoon, right? But we'll use a lot more than that. So really be mindful of what we put on our salads. And a lot of people are doing all the right things, but forgetting about the quality of their condiments. They make really good condiments out there. You just have to look at the labels and look for the sugar content. Above all else, avoid the things that say fructose, right? The fructose stuff that's very problematic to what's going on in the liver. And then we have number 5, vegetable and seed oils. And these oils that are in the past, we were told that these oils are actually good for us. We were told that these oils are heart healthy. They do good things for our cholesterol. and we missed the mark, like major. It's some of the worst advice that humans have ever given other humans was to use these oils and cook with these oils. So these include oils like sunflower oil, corn oil, soybean oil, and vegetable oils. These are omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids. We call them PUFAs here, omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids. And in 2020, the American Society for Nutrition found that fatty acid consumption, rather than the amount of fat, may actually be the key factor inducing obesity. Widespread overuse of these oils has been implicated in the rise of system-wide inflammation, modern lifestyle diseases, and contributing to liver damage by way of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Even worse, when we heat these oils, they're very unstable. The polyunsaturated omega-6 fats found in these common cooking oils generate a substance known as hydroxynonenal, which researchers now believe plays a key role in cell degeneration and cell death. So it causes all kinds of damage to your body, to your cells. It ages you faster, on top of the negative effects it has on your liver, right? There are much better fats we can use, like butter, coconut oil, olive oil, avocado oil, and things like that. So it's important to know that currently there is no registered drug for the treatment of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, right? Nothing they can do about that. So it's essential for seniors to tailor their diets to safeguard the health of the liver. We say it here a lot at NativePath, the foundation of your health, along with things like breathing and hydration and sleep and managing your stress, is what you put in your body, what we put in our body, right? So food can be medicine or it can be a poison. It can be the best medicine or it can be the worst poison, right? Really, we want to be mindful of the food that we put in our body. So we have to stay aware. We have to get on the path and stay on the path, as we say, with good eating habits, right? As the foundation. So let's discuss science-backed liver foods seniors should eat daily. And this is where we come back to the real good news. So let's talk about the incredible importance of omega-3s. Omega-3s, we talked about omega-6 fats earlier with those seed oils. Omega-3s will help reduce inflammation and the buildup of fat in the liver while also promoting a lower overall BMI, your body mass index. So what foods have omega-3s? This includes fatty fish, which ironically is great for lowering the levels of fat in your liver. And if you're as health conscious as I think you are, you probably already know it's because of the high levels of omega-3 essential fatty acids that fish contains. So they did a review of 10 randomized controlled trials. Omega-3 fatty acid consumption was shown to reduce inflammation, enhance insulin sensitivity, so you're better able to manage your blood sugar there, and lower blood triglyceride levels. These three key factors to naturally improve and protect the health of your liver. So what are the foods? What are some foods with high omega-3 content that we can start incorporating? So salmon is one. Salmon is one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. Its omega-3 content is 2,150 milligrams of EPA and DHA. Those are great sources of omega-3s. Flaxseed is another one. These are small, brown, yellow seeds that are often ground. They're milled. They can be pressed to extracted oils. They're the richest whole food source of the omega-3 fat, alpha-linoleic acid. Alpha-linoleic acid is an omega-3 as well. And therefore, flaxseed is often used as an omega-3 supplement. And we have walnuts. I personally like walnuts. I love putting them on my salad. Every now and then I'll get a little snack of walnuts, but walnuts are very nutritious. They're loaded with fiber. They also contain large amounts of copper, of manganese. They have vitamin E in there as well. And they have, as far as their omega-3 content, they have 2,570 milligrams of the alpha-linoleic acid I was talking about. And then we have chia seeds. Chia seeds are incredibly nutritious. They're rich in manganese and selenium and magnesium and other nutrients. And they have 5,050 milligrams of alpha-linoleic acid in them. So chia seeds, walnuts, flaxseed, salmon, those are all great things to start adding into your diet from a food perspective that are going to help you get more omega-3s in there. So unfortunately, only certain types of fatty or oily fish contain enough of the right amounts of omega-3s to really make a difference in your liver health. And many fish also contain contaminants, right? Like mercury, dioxins, and pesticides. Even there's a lot of stuff going around in the ocean that it's not as clean as it used to be, and the fishes aren't as healthy as they used to be. And what you eat, you are what you eats, right? So it's really important to know all that. So with all these problems, it's not so shocking that even with all we know about the power of omega-3s, 80% of Americans still do not have enough of them in their diet. And this is why supplementing with omega-3s is so important. Now, every time I say omega-3s, when most people hear that, they think fish oil, like the stuff that you get from the local health food store or your supermarket, or maybe some stuff you buy on on Amazon, right? That is why you see fish oil supplements becoming more and more popular. But those have their own problems as well. I see two key problems with fish oil, this conventional fish oil that most people are getting. Conventional fish oil is almost always tainted with pollutants and toxins, which prevent it from working, right? It comes from oceans where there's oil spills, where there's nuclear disasters, there's high levels of mercury can be found in the waters that most fish oil is coming from. And I simply don't trust it. I don't trust it for me. I don't trust it for my family, not my wife, not my dog, not my patients. I do not trust it for our NativePath community. The other problem with fish oil is it doesn't get absorbed by the human body very well, as people think, right? So there's research they did from the Journal of Agriculture and Food Chemistry that validates this. When it's put head to head, when fish oil was put head to head against another type of omega-3 that I'll share in the next slide, I'll call it the secret source for now, right? And scientists found that fish oil is 50% less absorbable compared to the secret source. And I'm going to talk about on the next page, right? Fortunately, the secret source is it's way out in the Antarctic Ocean, right? It's away from all the contaminants and the nuclear spills and the oil and things like that. And it contains omega-3s that science tells us are 8 times more powerful than those in fish or fish oil. And just by taking 1 to 2 gels daily has been proven to help you avoid the top causes, the three top causes of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So what is the secret source? It's NativePath Antarctic krill oil. That's what it is. So what put head to head against krill oil, scientists found fish oil to be 50% less absorbable. I'll say that again. Krill oil against fish oil, they found fish oil to be 50% less absorbable. We waste money on fish oil. We waste money on fish oil. It's not absorbable like krill oil is. So it's very clear. A far better source of omega-3s is krill oil. Not only is it more absorbable, but it comes from the pristine Antarctic Ocean where the water is not polluted, right? At NativePath, our Antarctic krill oil is the best source of omega-3s we feel on the planet, right? Just one soft gel boasts an ocean of benefits with things like 500 milligrams of wild-caught krill. This helps you to support long-term brain health and heart health, and it maintains healthy joints and more. So we're not just talking about the benefits of the liver, we're getting to the benefits of the whole body here. It also has pure omega-3s. It has 85 milligrams of omega-3s in the form of EPA and DHA. So you're getting omega-3 sourced from some of the deepest, chilliest waters on the Antarctic Ocean, making them free of heavy metals like mercury, unlike regular fish oil. It's all about quality here. We believe in the purity of our products. It also has 200 micrograms of astaxanthin. This is one of the most powerful antioxidants found in nature. Astaxanthin is 550 times stronger than vitamin E. It's 800 times more powerful than CoQ10, and it's 6,000 times more potent than vitamin C. A lot of those things we don't need if we're getting good astaxanthin coming from the krill oil. Other thing I like about krill oil, is that has no fishy aftertaste like we get with the fish oil, right? A lot of people, they take the fish oil, and I remember I used to take fish oil and I go kiss my wife. She's like, what do you put in your mouth? Like, what are you doing? Don't get that with krill oil. Don't get it with krill oil, because the krill oil, the soft gels, they stay intact well deep into your intestines rather than just dissolving in your stomach, right? That's what's causing a lot of that fishy taste, that burp, kind of fishy burp things people get. So you can say goodbye to those fishy burps that come after ingesting a regular fish oil pill. So we've been talking about the benefits krill oil has for the liver, but check out all the other health benefits that krill oil has, including reducing inflammation and helping relieve joint pain. Inflammation is like the thing that's behind all the things. It's behind many of our health issues. It's behind a lot of our joint pain. So reducing that is going to be really, really beneficial for you. It also helps support a healthy metabolism. It reinforces heart health and boosts circulation. I know we've had a lot of people come into our community with swelling in their legs and their ankles and their hands. Those are circulation issues, and krill oil is incredibly helpful for that. It also improves cognitive function and ability. You know, as we age, concerns about memory, all kinds of stuff going on there. Krill oil can be helpful for that. And we talked about detoxifying the body of toxins, how the liver, you know, we don't want to put so much brunt and when work on the liver by the foods that we eat, the air we breathe. The krill oil can really help with that. It also reduces symptoms of dry eyes if people are ever dealing with that, and it improves mood and decreases anxiety. Like, krill oil is a magical thing. I consider it one of the most important and foundational supplements you can take, along with things like collagen, vitamin D, magnesium. Krill oil is right up there. It's so important. And again, we strongly believe that we have the best source of omega-3s on the planet with our krill oil. And what's awesome is that we have an exclusive offer just for you today. So in order to lock in your exclusive webinar pricing today, you can look in the chat right now and click the link. I think it might have been posted by Rachel or Krista or Olivia. And you can click on that link and you can see the different options to buy that we have today as a special, and a way of saying thank you for joining us on the webinar, and have it delivered right to your door. You don't have to go to your local store, any market like that. We'll deliver it right to your door. And this link will also be emailed to you along with a recording of this webinar in case you're out and about right now and you can't take a look at it. So really happy to share all that information. Hope that was useful. Learning about the foods, the importance. First, we discussed the importance of the liver, all the amazing things it does, the problems that it can lead to, those stages of liver issues that can lead to fatty liver disease, cirrhosis, the irreversible issues. We talked about the foods that can be problematic, and we talked about foods to incorporate, and also the distinction of fish oil and omega-3s after we discussed the importance of omega-3s in your diet. So now I want to move on to questions. So I think we have a few minutes here before we wrap up. We'll take a look at the Q&As. I will again answer these as best I can. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Rachel, you got any off the bat we want to discuss?
I was answering a few of them. So some questions we have is like, we talking about the juices, like cranberry juice. I know you did cover that with the fruit juices and the fruit cups, but for example, people are asking about the no sugar added juices.
Yeah, so my take, you know, because sometimes cranberry is one that people will take for like sometimes kidney stones or things like that, right? If you're dealing with something like that, maybe that's a time and place. But outside of that, there's truthfully like no reason to have fruit juices. And they do so many problems to your blood sugar, you know. So going back to what happens let's say when we eat an orange as opposed to drink a cup of orange juice, right? We could have the same actual content of sugar in both of those, but the way the body processes them is completely different. So you eat the orange, it's a very slow release of that sugar into the bloodstream. And that causes a very low stress to your liver, right? It doesn't have to really work real hard. So that things don't get out of balance. You don't stress it. There's no scar tissue happening in that respect. But if you drink the orange juice, and I'm talking chronically, every day, this is where people get in a lot of trouble. That is like a big bolus of sugar coming into your bloodstream, which sends a huge signal. It's actually over to your pancreas to start producing a whole lot of insulin to clear the bloodstream of sugar, right? And all that stuff goes and gets stored in the liver as fat, right? That's where it becomes a problem. And a lot of people are thinking it's good, right? So I'm generally not a big fan of juices for health, you know. And the only type of people that can really get away with juices are very active, very lean people who are utilizing that much sugar that rapidly for their sport or for their thing. But that's really healthy, very active people. If you're looking for a breakthrough in your health or weight management or your liver health, I would encourage you to remove juices, stick with whole foods. And if you're tracking anything, you'll see improvements in blood sugar management, the way you feel, your energy, and generally getting you away from being dependent on sugar as fuel. Because that's the other thing here is so many people are depending on sugar as fuel. So they're like, I can't get rid of my orange juice. I'll be tired. You will be for a little bit, but then we switch it over, right? And Judy just said here, what about 2% milk, right? So when it comes to milk, generally the more fat content it has, the more whole it is, the less tincture touched it is by man, the less homogenized, the less processed it is, pasteurized it is, the better it's going to be for you. My general recommendation for milk, though, is for most people, it's a very great area. It can be problematic for a lot of people. If someone's wanting to gain weight, I would encourage them to drink milk, right? And that's the thing. A lot of people are drinking milk because they think it's good for their bones, right? They think I'm told we're all just got milk, calcium, good for bones, right? Give me the white mustache. But milk is the same way. It promotes the insulin growth in the body, right? Those are the type of things that really lead to a lot of problems with your blood sugar and anything that causes growth. I get a little concerned with when it comes to things like cancer and things like that. So instead of milk, I would encourage you to have things like almond milk or cashew milk or any nut-based milk that doesn't have sugar on there. You know, if you're having any like nut-based cereals or anything like that, that would be a better option. Generally, I would encourage you to just ditch the milk. I know that sounds weird because again, we grew up, hey, just have your grains, drink your milk, but it's like completely opposite. It's like get rid of the grains, get rid of the milk, go towards vegetables, you know, berries, good quality meats, good quality fats. And then you really have this radical change in terms of how much nutrition your foods have. We don't want to just think the quantity of calories. We want to think about the quality of calories. A lot of people are just thinking eat less or more. We want to start thinking maximize nutrition, minimize toxicity. And Zena said, is butter okay? Yeah, butter's great. Butter doesn't have the lactose in it that milk does. You're really just dealing with the fat proteins, which in this case is it's not problematic for the liver. It's not problematic for your blood sugar. Just you want to make sure it's from a good source, right? So when we talk good source, you're looking for grass-fed butter. You want it coming from cows that are eating clean grass, getting sunshine, drinking water. You don't want it from cows that were raised in feedlots, like I don't know what's a brand out there like Crocker or something like that. You know, just there's some really shady brands of butter out there. You want to make sure you're getting it from a good quality. But generally, when it comes to fats, the good stuff, you're thinking grass-fed butter, you're thinking avocado oil, olive oil, coconut oil, ghee. Like those, you can go a long way with that and do a little mini pantry makeover. Get rid of the seed oils. You'll be in a much better place.
And when you started talking about the meats too, we had a couple people ask about beef jerky or like non-sugar beef jerky. That was one that popped up quite a bit in the thread.
Yeah, so non-sugar beef jerky would be better, right? And that's the thing. The thing when I hear about beef jerky is still like, what's the source, right? Like what's because there's some beef jerky out there that like is great, right? It comes from cows raised in really good, ethical, clean environments. They're eating grass and all those things. And there's some jerky that you get from the gas station. And generally some of this does have a lot of sugar in it, right? It usually has some seed oils that it's been cooked in, has an added sugar. It's coming from cows that were not ethically raised in good situations, right? And this comes back to like philosophy and values around these food manufacturers, right? So at NativePath, we have collagen. But we make sure that collagen comes from the happiest cows on the planet. They're out there roaming the hills, they're eating the grass, they're drinking water, they're getting sun, no hormones, no antibiotics, nothing, right? The cleanest source, because that's what gives you the best results. Your body absorbs it better. You aren't just what you eat, you are what you eat. So yeah, grass-fed beef sticks, Carol, that would be a much better option, right? And you can just like Google that stuff and you'll find a lot of stuff. So salted butter or unsalted butter. So for me, like either one of those, a little bit of salt is not the problem, right? Where we get in trouble is salt and like food preservatives and things like that. So if you're sticking with whole real food and you're adding salt, rather than buying a packaged food that has a lot of salt in there, you're generally going to be better off, right? Generally going to be better off. While we're at it, we're talking about jerky and things like that. That's a better way to snack for sure. Like no doubt about it. Is snacking on meat and berries and in fat, as opposed to like a whole lot of carbohydrates that most people do. What I encourage people to do is even back off the snacking a little bit. Like if some of the most simple things that people can do to have a breakthrough in their health, whether it's their liver or their blood sugar, is to stop snacking, let your body digest the food. Because that's another thing is we're just kind of eating a lot, not letting our body process the things, going back to being kind of a burden on the liver. It's too much, too quick, right? So giving space and eating bigger whole food meals, you know, that's going to be a lot better for you. So,
And drinking more water too, staying properly hydrated.
that was the other thing I was going to say, is every time you feel like you need a snack, just like, you know, go over here and just take a little swig of water. A lot of times we are just thirsty. We are just thirsty. And the other thing that you know, I mentioned the liver, looking at it kind of like a filter. It's also like a thermostat in many ways in terms of what it does. It loves water. It doesn't like juices, right? It stores sugar in the liver. It loves water. It absolutely loves it. We had a question about oats. Oats generally are, you know, if someone is really trying to improve their health, if they have metabolic issues, I would steer you more towards like better sources of carbohydrates, like that are more nutrient dense. Oats typically, it's kind of like fruit juices. They typically work well or best on people who are already lean and not dealing with any metabolic issues. But oats are fairly high in carbohydrates, but they're not nearly as problematic as like your conventional cereals and things like that. But oats, I don't worry too much about oats as long as it's coming from a good source. Let's see. We got some.
There's another question. I saw one from Anonymous and one from Laura Laura asked about monk fruit, and then Anonymous asked about stevia to add to your coffee.
So those are two sources that we like for sweeteners. We like them much better than, certainly better than the artificial sweeteners. You know, a lot of people are, if you're using the pink packet or the blue packet or the yellow packet, those things aren't so much problematic from a blood sugar perspective. Those things are problematic from a neurodegenerative perspective, like in terms of what they do for your brain and your nervous system, right? Which controls all the things. So we don't like it for that. And stevia and monk fruit are really great natural plant-based sources that you can add for just a little bit of sweetness. There's a fairly big spectrum in terms of the quality of monk fruit and the quality of stevia. So you want to make sure it's coming from good, if you can find good organic sources. That's what we use in our creamers, for instance, is actually both monk fruit and stevia. So that's a good way to incorporate that and have a little sweetness. Honey would also be, just a little bit of honey would also be okay.
And then from Karen, we have, how much fructose can your liver tolerate per day?
Well, you know, it's not so much how much, it's the type, right? It's so you could, again, going back to the orange and the like what's going on in orange juice or what's going on in soda. They might have the exact same amount of fructose, but it's the way it's processed, right? So the fructose coming from fruit, not really as problematic, right? The fructose coming from sodas, the fructose coming from fruit juices, those are way more problematic because of how quickly and how rapidly your body is forced to process that, right? So when it comes to like foods with fructose, just stick with fruits, not the fruits that are in fruit cups, because again, they add extra sugar in there, and just chew your food. That's another way to help your body process that. Let's see what else.
We have Laura, she wants to know, is lard a good option for a fat?
Lard, yeah, that's a great option. That's a really good option. If you can, I mean, a lot of people are just sourcing that naturally from when they cook meat and things like that. But you can buy some lard. Lard, tallow, really old school animal fats. Those are all really good. If you like those, you can do that as well. See, Carol said, when you spoke of crackers, does that include almond flour crackers? Almond flour crackers are much less problematic. Yeah. So again, you're kind of seeing the picture here, what we're talking about, like the conventional stuff, right? Like Ritz crackers, right? You know what I mean? That's where we get in big trouble. And you can just look in the ingredients. You know, like you're going to see almond flour crackers that'll just say almond flour and a few other things, and that's probably good, right? When you look on the back of a convention, and you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna get in trouble by naming names over and over again with conventional crackers, but just look on the back of it. You're going to see a whole lot of stuff that we can't pronounce that's not good. So always think about the quality, but also know that like if you're in a place of having health issue, whether it be your blood sugar, you're hypertensive, you have high triglycerides, you're overweight, you've been notified by your doctor you have any fatty liver issues of non-alcoholic fatty livers of any kind, probably a good idea to back off all crackers for a little bit. Right. Yeah. Just kind of get yourself some breathing room, do a little reset, right? Where like for 30 days, you don't have any crackers, you just stick to whole real food, good meats, good veggies, good fats. Like because that's what it needs is a break where it doesn't have to process this stuff so much. So it's kind of feeling out where you're at and just being aware that if it's a cracker, whether it's a conventional one or an almond one, it's not nutrient dense as say vegetables and meats and good fats, right? Sparingly, very sparingly.
All right, we have another one from Judy. What effect does a loss of your gallbladder have on your liver disease? Is there any way to compensate for it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the processing of fats and the buildup and the making of bile and things like that. When it comes to that, right? It's just even more important to dial in smart supplementation, hydration, sleep. Basically, you have to because one organ has been affected, so it's going to put more stress somewhere else down the chain, right? If you remove something here or something else is going on, it's going to make this other area hurt more. So the things that we're talking about, it's like even more dial in the omega-3s, even more dial in the right proteins in the form of animal-based proteins and vegetables and berries, and even more remove the harmful stuff, right? So that's the way you want to think about it.
We have another one from Brian. What is the most effective way to measure the liver function enzymes? Is there another test besides simple blood work?
Yeah, I mean, I forget the exact test, but for that, what I would do is I would go see a good functional medicine doctor in your area. And they have so many different types of tests they can do. I can't really name one for you right now. But you could also go to your regular primary care physician and get blood work done and get a full liver workup and see what's going on underneath the hood. That's a really good idea to do. But I can't give you like any exact answers right now.
And then we have one from Brenda. Oh, where did it go? Okay, I had many tests done to check my liver and everything comes back normal and good. So not sure what is going on.
So I'm assuming if everything looks good, and she's probably experiencing some of those symptoms, right, that we talked about earlier. It might be like fatigue or pain or something going on. And this is why sometimes the testing doesn't show everything, right? So that's where, Brenda, it's hard for me to like say anything other than dial it all in, right? I don't know if it's the same Brenda that was on the breathing stuff, but that's on the breathing seminar last week, really dialing in and practicing that, starting with breath, starting with water, movement, sleep, good foods, right? Make that the foundation and then see how you feel as you go, right? But sometimes that stuff doesn't show. And even remember, like sometimes the symptoms don't even, in that first stage of non-alcoholic fatty liver issues, sometimes we don't even feel any issues going on. So it's just a practice good lifestyle habits, and that's the foundation of what's going on, and smart supplementation, right? So sometimes just adding krill oil into your day, it could be 1 to 2 soft gels. You can take one in the morning, one in the evening. That's a great way to get more omega-3s. That typically does a lot with how you feel. So I really want to highlight that as well.
You just tapped into this one by Randolph. The NativePath krill oil is recommended 2 per day. Is that the upper limit dosage?
Yeah, I wouldn't go any higher than that. There's really no need. It's very nutrient dense, very effective krill oil, and also it's because it's so potent. You want to give space to your body to process. So if you're dealing with any significant health issues, that's where I like to say, maybe work up to 2 a day. If you're just starting out, give yourself like 3 days just to take 1 a day and see how your body processes that. And if you're good, you have no symptoms, everything's kind of feeling good, then you can bump it up to 2, but I would stay there, right? More is not necessarily better. What I would encourage you to do is take the 2, but really do all the other things that we're talking about. We want the lifestyle and we want smart supplementation. We can't supplement our way out of bad diets. That's really important, guys. It's really important. So we want to be really straight up with you. We cannot supplement out of bad diets. Really important. But that's the way I would look at it. But no more than 2. Good question.
Okay, we have one from Ruth. What about Wild Planet tuna?
Wild Planet tuna is probably good. I'm not familiar with Wild Planet tuna, but most tuna out there, they're not messing with in a major way. You could probably go to the Wild Planet tuna website and see where they source their tuna. Generally, You know, if you want it further away from the land, you want it more north or more south, right? So that's going to kind of dictate the quality of the tuna. But generally, tuna is a great thing to have. Really good source of omega-3s and a good source of protein as well. And they're not adding sugar to that stuff, so you're good there.
Perfect. And you're tapping into this one too. Hope is asking, is wild caught salmon better than farm raised or Atlantic salmon?
Yes. Yeah, it's a good question, Hope. And this goes back to, I said it before, you're not just what you eat, you are what you eat eats, right? And all the toxins and the bad stuff, it gets absorbed in the fat, right? So they will, for instance, fish feedlots, right? They have these for all animals, like chicken and cows and stuff like that. They'll take all the fish, they'll just wrap them in there, and then they'll be like, well, we got to fatten these fish up. So what they did, they put a whole lot of grains in there. They put a whole lot of stuff that's made from a conventional food factory. The fish get really fat, but now the fish are getting sick, and the fish are starting to store toxins in their fat, right? So it no longer becomes a very good source of omega-3. This is the same thing that happens with a cow. They will put the cow on dirt in a feedlot with a bunch of other cows. They'll cram them real close together. They do the same thing with chickens because they're looking at it from price economic thing, right? They'll fatten them up, the animal gets sick, and then what they'll do is they give the animal hormones and antibiotics and all these other things, which gets stored in the fat. And then we eat that, and then we absorb all of that stuff. So as best you can, no matter the animal, whether it's fish or chicken or beef or whatever, try to get the best source. And if you're not able to get a grass-fed or wild-caught source or free-range organic chicken, so to speak, then what you want to do is look for the leanest source that you can find. That way you're getting the least amount of fat. In other words, the least amount of toxins stored in that fat, right? If it's coming from a really good source, wild-caught fish or a grass-fed cow, you can be much more lenient and aggressive with how much fat intake you have, right? So just think of that. If it's coming from a conventional source, you definitely want the leanest possible thing. If it's coming from a natural source, organic, grass-fed, free range, you can bring in a little more fat, and it's beneficial to you in that way. And remember this, you're not just what you eat, you are what you eat eats, right? Really important stuff. And this brings us back to the fish oil, right? This brings us back to the fish oil. Most fish oil is conventional fish oil. It's coming from feedlots. It's coming from oceans with mercury. I mentioned nuclear fallouts and oil spills and all that stuff. And it's not quality stuff. You want the stuff in the Antarctic that's untouched by man, right? It's as natural as it can possibly be. So that's why we really like the krill oil.
Let's see, the next, it's all about milk for the next three. There's a question from Laura and Anonymous as well. They want to know, is probiotic milk okay, lactate-free milk, or yogurt okay?
So for the most part, those are okay. Those aren't too problematic. You just got to really, really watch the brand and what's in there, right? Still, sometimes they can still take a really nice probiotic kefir or something like that and add a bunch of sugar and a bunch of stuff that's not good for you. So really look at the quality. But generally with probiotic yogurts and kefirs and things like that, just be careful with the sugar content, and those are generally okay and much like not problematic like say milk would be, which goes back to how your body absorbs it, the amount of sugar and lactose in milk. You know, when we ferment stuff, that a lot of that changes, right? A lot of that harmful stuff goes out, right? So those tend to be a lot better. Yeah.
And I'm right there with Brenda on this one. She goes, I also tend to eat quite a bit of almond butter. Is this okay? Because I know we have this with almond butter and nuts. I'm sure the same theory goes for all this.
I mean, I'm right there with you too, Brenda. If I'm left to my own like instincts, I will go to town on almond butter, you know. But almond butter and really nuts is like, the thing about nuts and almond butters is they're also very high in omega-6 content, right? So one of the things that we're trying to fix here that's good for your blood sugar, it's good for your body, it's good for inflammation, it's also good for your liver, is to balance out this omega-6, omega-3 thing a little more, right? So in our culture, a lot of us are really inflamed, and the source of that is because we're getting way too much omega-6 and not enough omega-3. I'm not saying omega-6 is bad, by the way. It's the imbalance of what's going on. which we're getting too much omega-6 because of those seed oils. That's the biggest thing that's getting in trouble, right? The corn oil, safflower oil, things like that. But omega-6 is also, it's going to be in nuts, like almonds, like cashews. There's omega-6 stuff in there, right? So in this process of trying to balance things out, right, we want to slow down on the nuts a little bit. And my rule is like no more than a handful a day, no, like and a smaller handful and like a tablespoon a day, right? We don't want to go nuts on nuts, especially not in our process of trying to improve our health. Because there's been times when I've been like, you can eat this, you can't eat that, right? And I'll be like, hey, yeah, almond butter is great, you could do it. And I'll come back a day later, like, hey, what'd you eat? And they're like, well, I had almond butter for breakfast, I had almond butter for lunch, and almond butter for dinner. I've been doing this for 3 weeks, can't lose any weight. What's going on? Like, you know. So it's just keep the nuts are something you really want to keep in moderation, right? But they're generally okay, and it's a good healthy way to deal with things. So we had a question about almond milk and oat milk. I missed it.
We have a lot of questions at the bottom about nuts, like about salted versus roasted seeds from Laura. We also have one about, is cashews and pistachios okay, from Scott?
Yeah, generally all those are okay. There's good practices around nuts, right? Whether it's, roasted or not roasted, that's fine. What's going to make the nut healthier is if it's coming from a source that has soaked the nut, like because nuts have their own defense mechanisms, right? They have things on them that protect them from other species and creatures from being eaten, and that has an impact on your gut a little bit, right? It kind of irritates the gut a little bit. So good sources of nuts would be ones that have been soaked and then oven roasted on a really low heat for like 6 to 15 hours, depending on the type of nut, and that gets rid of a lot of the a lot of the properties around the nut that make it hard to digest. In general, though, all those nuts are fine, right? Like I don't worry too much about any of the seeds or the nuts or whatever, but really keep it in moderation, right? And just keep it as a complement to the amazing meals that you're having that have good protein and good vegetables and berries and good fats. But just don't go nuts on nuts, otherwise you're totally good with it.
Yes.
And as Krista mentioned here, everybody do not forget to claim your exclusive webinar offer and do the krill oil, because as we're talking about the nuts, remember, super high in omega-6, what we're trying to do is balance out that omega-3s. Easiest way to get more omega-3s in your diet is to start supplementing with omega-3s and using the krill oil. Really important.
Sue, I love this one. She just put a comment. She's like, I've been using your vanilla chai collagen coffee creamer and it's absolutely delicious. I couldn't agree with you more, Sue. I love the creamers in my coffee. It's like my morning treat that I look forward to every single day.
Man, I love the vanilla chai one too. I think the vanilla chai may be my favorite. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
I'm glad Sue likes that one too. Really good stuff.
We have a question from Christy. What about corn chips and other chips?
Yeah, so corn chips, that would be better than flour chips, right? And I would say almond flour chips or cassava chips would be better than corn chips, right? In terms of the quality and where it's coming from. So generally corn, the way it's made, they're going to do mono agriculture with it. They're going to tear away all the nutrients and vitamins and life from the land, and they're going to make one thing. They're going to make corn, it's corn is something else that when overdone can be a problem, but in small amounts can be fine. But I would encourage you to go more towards like almond flour chips or cassava chips would be a better option than corn for sure. But if you're trying to get healthy, I would actually steer you away from chips, right? Going back to nutrition and toxicity, right? And where are we typically eating chips? It's like when we're snacking, right? Snacking can be a real big problem for blood sugar, digestion, processing in the organs, things like that. Giving your body a little break to process the foods is, as I learn more about health and eating practices, is really important.
Let's see. We have one from Walter. Is there a jam that is sweetened by monk fruit or similar sweeteners?
No, I actually wouldn't like a jam that has monk fruit or stevia in there. Most jams they're just jams. Like the really good jams are just jams. They don't need to add any sugar or stevia or monk fruit in there for the most part, right? Yeah, yeah, and again, the jam is still going to have a lot of sugar in there. So, and what do we put in the jam on? Probably put in like a toast or a bagel, you know. So just we want to be careful about where we're using the jam, right? If we're dealing with metabolic issues, that's not the direction we want to go. That's not the direction we want to go. But there's better sources of jam and all things like that.
Absolutely. I was gonna say, when I make a chia pudding, since I don't use any jams, I don't eat bread, what I'll do is I'll take fresh berries, I'll mush them down, add a little bit of chia seeds, and that helps thicken it up. And then there's your consistency that you can put on top of your yogurt, for example. And it's that way you're not adding any sugars, you're not having any other fillers in there. It's literally just a crushed berry with chia seeds that kind of thicken it up and make it a jam consistency. So that's a nice, healthy alternative.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm thinking about like where people get in trouble, right? Because they'll take toast and they'll put jam on there, and they'll do it every day, and they'll call it breakfast, and they'll have it with orange juice and a banana maybe even. And what we're getting there is nothing but carbohydrates, like nothing but carbohydrates, right? And that's going to raise your blood sugar. That's going to cause your pancreas to start producing a whole lot of insulin, and then it doesn't matter if it's organic or a good source or anything like that. What's missing to really help this is like it's protein and good fat, right? So really, like as opposed to like thinking, what is this okay? Is that okay? Let's think about like, am I getting enough protein? Am I getting enough water? Am I eating vegetables? Am I having berries? Right? That's where you want to focus more of your attention rather than like, what's better, like almond chips or corn chips? Like, well, let's have the chips after we have our good quality nutritious foods, and even see like if we even want the chips, right? Because when you're eating foods that are really satiating, like nutrient dense foods, the reason why a lot of people over snack is because you're eating foods that are really low in nutrition, and the brain is like, I don't have any nutrients, so keep eating, keep snacking, right? That's what's going on with a lot of people and why they can't stop eating, and they overeat these really poor nutritious foods. So let's make sure the base of what we're doing, super high nutritious foods, good quality fats, proteins, vegetables, berries, drink lots of water, right? That'll change the game.
Yes, that's the right combination. That's what I did when I started adding more protein to my meals and staying properly hydrated. I don't have the need to snack anymore throughout the day. How about sardines from Anonymous?
Yeah, go for sardines. That's great. Yeah, sardines are great. Yeah. I mean, especially like what sardines are super nutritious, great source of protein. Ideally, it's coming from clean waters. But yeah, sardines all day. I don't personally like sardines, but if you do, get it.
Let's see, we have another one from Melanie. What about rice bran oil? I've heard that it's a good one to use.
Rice bran oil. Is this like cooking?
I'm not familiar with rice bran, so
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it either, and I can't really speak for it. So if I'm not familiar with it, I wouldn't. It might sound good. The label might say it's good, but yeah, I would stick towards better, healthier oils like avocado oil and olive oil would be really safe oils to work with.
And then I've seen postings recently raising questions about safety of erythritol, which seems to be in wide use in products. What is your view at this time? Oh, Chad, we got you muted.
Yeah, no, that's a sugar, right? Erythritol. Yeah, like it. I would just keep coming back to stevia and monk fruit when it comes to that stuff. Yeah. The thing when it comes to these sugars, there's so much industry things written about a lot of this. They'll come up with a new sugar, right? Oh, we got this one over here. We got that one over there. And what they'll do is they'll like make stevia and monk fruit wrong in the promotion of theirs, right? And it's typically not something that I trust or deal with. When it comes to sweeteners, I only trust three. I only trust honey, stevia, and monk fruit, and that's really it, right?
And Deborah asks, how does the body treat monk fruit sugar?
much more favorably than regular sugar. And we don't even call it sugar. It's more like it's just like a sweetener. So it's not gonna raise your blood sugar like regular sugar or fructose, for instance. It's not gonna burden your pancreas in any way to start producing a lot of insulin. So just know that when it comes to monk fruit and stevia, it's processed a lot better and a lot easier on your internal organs and your liver and your pancreas.
And we have one more from Anonymous. Is it true that I've heard or read that coffee is helpful for your liver?
Coffee is one of those things that's dose dependent. It can be helpful for your liver for like 1 to 2 cups a day. But once we get into more than that, it can become problematic. And remember with coffee, it's not just the coffee, it's what we put in the coffee, right? A lot of benefits from coffee when it's just black coffee, or when it has the creamers that we have, like with collagen, MCT, monk fruit, stevia. Lots of benefits there. Good proteins, good fats, smart sweeteners, smart natural sweeteners. If we're drinking coffee and it has, say, the conventional creamers, like Coffee Mate. Like if you look on the back of Coffee Mate, it's got an endless amount of sugar and ingredients that we can't pronounce. That's going to be problematic. So we can't, when we're talking about coffee, we have to talk about what we're putting in the coffee, right? But everything is dose dependent. Best detox for your liver. There's lots of great liver cleanses out there. The best practices are eating clean and sometimes even fasting a little bit, like skipping meals. When it comes to the organs, what the organs really like, this comes back to why I don't like snacking so much, is because we just need to give space for the organs to digest and break down the things, right? When we're constantly making the body work and processing things, that's what gets us in trouble. But for liver cleanses, yeah, I can't like name anything. But if you go see like a good functional medicine doctor, there's lots of great liver protocols out there that you can do. But I'm more interested in the smart daily things. I don't want everybody just to depend on a cleanse. I'd rather you think about the daily things you can do with smart supplementation, like a krill oil, smart hydration, protein, vegetables, things like that. All right. I think we're out of questions.
That's it.
Okay, everybody. Well, thank you all so much. Thank you so much for your questions and for attending. It was a great webinar. Covered a lot of great things. If you have more questions, we're going to go ahead and close it off now. You can always email us at cs@nativepath.com. And as Krista mentioned, we'll be emailing you. And in that email, we'll have a recording of this entire webinar. You can always go back. You can forward it to your family, your friends, and there will be a link in there where if you're away and out and about right now and you can't purchase your krill oil with the exclusive webinar offer, you can just go to that link and you can even learn more about krill and you can see different options to buy. So yeah, thank you, Carol. Appreciate you guys doing this. Thank you, Walter, Deborah. Yeah, we really appreciate all your feedback. Thank you, Mary. And we're really enjoying these webinars. As we mentioned, we've been doing them for over a year now. And it's amazing how first of all, we love educating you in this way. We love connecting with you here in the chat. We're going to be doing a lot more of these as well. Not only in this format where we're doing a more formal presentation with the webinar, but we're doing more in action type things. We call them live community events as well. Just last week we had a breathing exercises that we took you through, which is very important. So you can find that on YouTube. And we also had some journaling exercises. So lots of great things coming your way. We're going to be a lot more active. And Rachel's doing recipes. I told y'all Rachel knows recipes. Not my zone of genius. Rachel's zone of genius. So she's going to be doing that on the 9th. So lots of great stuff coming up. So again, thank you all for attending. Rachel, you got any more final words before we go?
No, I just love seeing all the comments. I love seeing everyone participate, like getting here and helping everyone make healthier choices. Because like you said in the beginning, our liver is so important and we're not aware of all the functions it has. And so just making healthier choices on how we can take care of ourselves to be better this is such a great webinar. I love seeing everyone being here and attending and learning something so we can all make healthier choices. So thank you so much. And
yeah,
I appreciate everyone being here.
Heck yeah. Thank you all so much. We love it. I love the attendance. It's really great. So, okay, everybody. Thank you all so much. Have a great day. We'll see you very soon. Okay, bye-bye.